Hi guys, today we will talk about The Last of Us Part 3. The Last of Us is one of those franchises that has changed gaming forever. Since its first release in 2013, Naughty Dog has taken us through emotional, brutal, and unforgettable journeys. We followed Joel and Ellie as they formed a bond built on survival, loss, and love. Then, in Part 2, we saw a darker, more complicated world, full of moral choices, conflicting perspectives, and an exploration of the cost of revenge. For years, fans have been asking, will there ever be a Part 3? Officially, The Last of Us Part 3 has not been announced, but there have been plenty of hints, interviews, rumors, and speculation. And if we piece it all together, we can imagine what the future of this story might look like. Neil Druckmann, the creative director behind the series, has admitted that he and his team came up with a rough concept for The Last of Us Part 3. That doesn't mean it's in development right now, but it means there is an outline, an idea, a seed of a story that could grow into the next chapter of Ellie's journey. What makes this exciting is that Druckmann has always said he would only return to the franchise if there was a story worth telling, one that could stand alongside the emotional weight of the first two games. That means if Part 3 ever happens, it won't be just for the sake of money or fan demand. It would be because there is something truly powerful that deserves to be told. So what could that story be? One direction that feels natural is continuing Ellie's life after the events of Part 2. We left her broken, isolated, and scarred, both physically and emotionally. She had her revenge, but lost so much in the process. Her family, her home, and her ability to play music, which symbolized her bond with Joel. Part 3 could explore Ellie searching for redemption. Perhaps she tries to reconnect with Dina, or she sets out to find a new purpose in a world that has taken everything from her. It could be a journey less about revenge and more about forgiveness, healing, and survival in a way that feels more human than ever. Another possibility is that the story could shift perspective again, like Part 2 did with Abby. Imagine a game where we play through the eyes of new characters in different regions of the United States, or even beyond. The infection has lasted for decades, so how have other parts of the world dealt with it? Are there thriving communities in Europe or South America? Could Ellie's story cross paths with new survivors whose outlook on the world challenges her in unexpected ways? By broadening the scope, Naughty Dog could show us a bigger picture of the outbreak while still grounding the narrative in deeply personal character arcs. And then there's Abby. At the end of Part 2, Abby and Lev set out on a boat, searching for the Fireflies. If they really find them, Part 3 could revolve around the rebirth of that faction, rebuilding an organization that once stood for hope, but also made controversial decisions. Would Ellie and Abby cross paths again in this world? Would they work together, or would their painful history make cooperation impossible? That kind of story could dig even deeper into the themes of trust, betrayal, and reconciliation that the series is known for. Speculation also surrounds the gameplay. Both Part 1 and Part 2 balance stealth combat and survival horror elements. For Part 3, Naughty Dog could expand these mechanics in dramatic ways. Imagine more dynamic stealth, where enemies communicate in real time, adapt to your strategies, and even call for reinforcements if they notice your patterns. Picture larger, semi-open environments that give players multiple approaches to survival, sneaking through abandoned buildings, swimming through flooded subway tunnels, or climbing crumbling skyscrapers. The infected could also evolve, introducing terrifying new mutations that force players to adapt constantly. Maybe a variant thrives in cold climates, making snowy environments especially dangerous. Or perhaps the fungus has mutated into aquatic forms, meaning rivers and lakes are no longer safe. Settlements could play a bigger role as well. In Part 2, we saw small communities like Jackson thriving in their own way. Part 3 might let us interact more deeply with these places, trading supplies, building relationships, and even making decisions that affect the survival of entire towns. Maybe you choose to help one settlement over another, shaping the balance of power in the world. These choices could carry long-term consequences, reinforcing the series' focus on morality and the weight of every action. The emotional core of The Last of Us has always been its characters. In Part 1, it was Joel and Ellie. In Part 2, it expanded to include Abby, Lev, Dina, Jesse, and many more. For Part 3, the opportunity exists to bring back beloved characters while introducing new ones who challenge our assumptions. Imagine Ellie forming a bond with a child, much like Joel did with her, forcing her to confront her own past from a new angle. Or Abby struggling with her identity as she tries to rebuild the Fireflies, questioning whether she can ever escape the cycle of violence. These kinds of characters character dynamics could provide endless opportunities for heart-wrenching storytelling. We also can't ignore the influence of the HBO television series. The Last of Us on HBO has brought Ellie and Joel's story to a massive global audience, and its success means that Part 3 could align more closely with the show. While the games and series don't need to match perfectly, there's a chance the creative team will ensure that the next chapter resonates with both audiences. That could mean emphasizing certain themes, expanding backstories, or exploring corners of the world only hinted at in the games. The synergy between the show and the games might be stronger than ever before. In terms of setting, the first two games kept us in the United States, moving through ruined cities, forests, mountains, and coastlines. For Part 3, Naughty Dog might take us even further. We could see Ellie traveling across the country, or even venturing overseas if the story demands it. Imagine exploring the ruins of a European city like London or Paris, overgrown with fungus and haunted by infected unlike anything seen before. Or a journey into South America, where the humid climate has transformed the cordyceps into something deadlier and stranger. Each location could provide unique gameplay challenges, environmental hazards, and cultural layers to the story. Thematically, Part 3 might shift away from revenge and toward rebuilding. Humanity has been broken for decades, but maybe this game will ask, what comes next? Do people rebuild society, or is the cycle of violence too deeply ingrained to break? Ellie could find herself at the center of that question, forced to decide whether she continues living for herself or sacrifices everything to give humanity a chance at a better future. The Last of Us has always been about more than survival. It's about the choices we make when survival is no longer enough. That's why fans are so eager for a Part 3. It's not just about more action or more infected. It's about seeing where these characters go, what they learn, and whether there's still hope in a broken world. If Part 3 really happens, it will likely be years away. Some rumors suggest it might not release until the next console generation, but the important thing is that the creative seed exists. The concept is there, and if Naughty Dog feels the time is right, we could see Ellie's story continue in a way that is just as groundbreaking as the first two games. Until then, all we can do is speculate, imagine, and keep the conversation alive. And maybe that's fitting for a series like The Last of Us, where hope is always fragile, always uncertain, but never fully gone. Thanks for watching, see you next time.